Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fresh Outlook. The 2014 Nobel Prizes in Chemistry and Physics have been awarded, one for the invention of a new way of seeing microscopically and the other for the LED light. I am joined by the Ebru News Fresh Outlook think tank. Let me introduce them once again. We have Jackie Guzda, who is with Western Connecticut University. We have Dr. William Rosenberg of Drexel University, and we have Jose Lopez from Seton Hall University. And I know this is a subject near and dear to your heart, Jose, because you are the Ebru science guy. So tell me, what's your take on the advances in technology and the Nobel Prizes?
So a lot of interesting prizes came out this year. Let's start with the science ones, and then we'll go to the peace, because I think that was, it beat out the physics, although I thought physics was the most interesting initially, but after the Peace Prize. The physiology one was Dr. O'Keefe, along with May Mauser and Edwin Mauser, who are a couple from Norway. And John O'Keefe is a American working in Britain. And they got it for mapping out in the brain of rats, that is, the position locators. So where you are, your grid cells and your place cells, which is basically the GPS of your brain, where you figure out where you are in space. So in a room, you might you need to know where you stand and where you're going, right? This is what they figured out, and this has been found now recently in humans to also be the same kind of cells that are involved there. So they got the medical Nobel this year.
And the other development you have in your hand there is the LED light, right?
Yeah, it's the physics prize, which was won by 3 Japanese, Nakamura, so Suji Nakamura, and Isamu Akasaki and Hyusho Amano, who together won it. And what they did is they invented this. This is...
And the LED light bulb, which is what, 100 times more powerful than a standard light bulb?
But this is a UV. This is a blue light bulb, a blue LED. So we've seen LEDs for a long time, since the 1960s. I mean, every time you go pull up to a traffic light, you see a red LED, a yellow LED, and a green LED. This is a blue LED invented in the 90s. And as you can see, if you put it, extremely bright. And what this did, with the red LED, with the green LED, and this blue LED, you can make white light. So what you can do is you can make a very efficient flashlight, this, basically. Gotcha. And that is it. This is the most energy efficient light source on the planet right now. Thomas Edison's light bulbs out the door, incandescent light bulbs, forget about those, and fluorescent light bulbs, that is out the door. This is going to be solid state. This isn't taking a solid and making light out of it. That's impressive.
It is impressive. I'm going to turn to Bill for just a second. Bill, what's your take on all of the push for new technology? We've got Jose here with his huge LED laptop.
This is a liquid crystal display, by the way.
Okay. I've got this phone here. This is what the new iPhone 6 Plus looks like. I dropped it on my foot yesterday, and because of that, I'm wearing an ace bandage today. No, I'm just kidding. But it's huge. Technology, good, bad, blessing, mixed? Bill, what do you say?
I think it's a mix, but just as a quick comment, I wonder whether or not the Eagles or the Giants this week are going to take better use of the positioning with the defensive backs and the wide receivers. To map up their reins. But anyway, going back to the technology issue, I think that it's really amazing not only for the prizes in science but also in peace to recognize the history of the Nobel. The idea is that Alfred Nobel was the person who developed dynamite. He was an armaments maker. He was the one who was responsible for untold damage in terms of lives.
Although also dynamite is needed to construct buildings as well, to give the devil his due.
But yes, but the idea is that it's kind of remarkable that now that money is being used for really good purposes. And I think that's a really important message to take away from here.
Absolutely, and let me turn to Jackie for just a second. I know you are a teacher as well, a professor. So many of your students are sitting in class like this while they're talking. It's a distraction in some levels, but another way you can post notes on here, you can have lectures on YouTube.
I realized that in 2010, which was only 4 years ago, I used to have to take my kids to the computer lab if they wanted to find any information outside of their textbooks or from me. And now I can be lecturing, something comes up and I say, take out your phones, and they're all like, you know. And so they can access information from anywhere. Any of us can. Now, the bad part is that they're texting because it's fulfilling their interpersonal needs. They want to talk to somebody, and they're not listening to me or anybody else in the class. Right. You know, the other thing is that I was in the mall when the iPhone 6 came out. and there was a line of people, snaking around the mall. And I went back to class and I said to my kids, what is this? And they said, everybody wants to be the first.
Everybody wants to be the first, and I was, and I'm proud.
We're proud of you.
Let me talk to Jose for a second. Talk to me about the other side of the Nobel Prizes, which are the Nobel Peace Prizes, which were given to a young woman from Pakistan and a gentleman from India, Malala Yousafzai, who was shot in the head by extremists 2 years ago and has made a remarkable comeback.
Yeah, Malala and Kailash Satyarthi, who is not as well known, but he is from India, and both of them together have really brought tremendous attention to child's rights and to children. I mean, the abuse of children, child slavery, refusing education, using them for things. So both of them equally deserved it this year. Malala's obviously for the hardship she went through with the Taliban in Pakistan is the spotlight's most on her. But to her credit, to both of their credits, what they've done together is really important, and they well deserved.
And Bill, together is the key element here. The Nobel's committee knew what they were doing when they gave half an award to somebody from Pakistan and half an award to somebody from India, half an award to a Muslim and half an award to a Hindu. Right. These regions need to be united.
Well, the way the Peace Prize works really is always a political statement by the Nobel Committee. They're always drawing attention to something that they want to focus on, and it changes from year to year, but it is not necessarily the most fabulous sort of activity or not to diminish what these two have
I was going to say, with Malala Yousafzai, I actually think it is the most extraordinary. I think she was ignored unrightly.
Well, she was ignored. She did not get it last year. What I'm saying is, it's not to diminish what these two individuals have done, but it's really a way to place a spotlight on an issue so that many more people become aware of it. So even though she's been dynamic in terms of giving talks, and even though he's been very engaged with his own work, having the Nobel assigned to them gives them a whole nother sort of level of awareness within the whole world.
And Jackie, that is a huge point. You're a media expert. The fact that these people are going to be on TV again, that their work is going to be highlighted again, that documentaries will be made about them, people who are idiots looking at their phone like this all day will read about it.
Right.
It's important because it gets the message across.
That's right. And what a role model this young lady is. I mean, she was shot in the head, yes, but look what she did afterwards. She went out there. I was at an event where she was speaking in New York City, and there had to be police all the way around. Her life is at risk whenever she goes out and stands up with her message, which is that women and girls count in this society. They should be educated, and they are a power. And so by this young lady going out and putting her life on the line, every time she is out in public, I say, give that girl the Nobel Plus.
And they own half the sky, and in this case, it's been highlighted. Let's turn back to technology a little bit. Tesla came out with a car this week that virtually drives itself. You signal right, it goes to the right without crashing. Signal left, Bill wouldn't get pulled over if he had this car. And it also parks itself both parallel parking, and also pulls into your driveway. Tell me about some of these developments and how it's going to impact our lives. I mean, people who are visually impaired might be able to drive someday.
Yeah, I mean, Google has a car that actually has people with visual impairments have driven in it. It takes them from one place to another place. So this is where car technology seems to be going. The two things we saw at the Paris Auto Show in particular was hydrogen being used in fuel cells. And hydrogen, as we know, is the most abundant element in the universe. 99% of everything is hydrogen. So that is interesting. That's going to come pretty soon when we develop that hydrogen fuel gas station somewhere. But the interesting thing is cars that drive themselves. I mean, imagine if that was possible, and it is possible with our technology. If we could put roads where you just go there'll be no accidents. Right. Insurance companies, of course, would reduce in size, premiums, everything would go down. So the financial benefit of that would die.
Be great. I mean, aside from the monetary aspect, people wouldn't be dying on the road. A drunk could stagger into his car, type in where he's going, wind up at somebody else's house because he'd entered it wrong, but he wouldn't crash. Bill, what's your take?
It ends up, my brother-in-law actually has MS, and he's been going out looking for cars. And if you go out, many cars are now doing this. Subaru, Mercedes, and everyone else.
They're great developments, and I don't want to stop you there, but we are out of time. I want to thank our guests, Jackie Guzda, William Rosenberg, and Jose Lopez. all giving us extraordinary insight. That is it for this edition of Fresh Outlook, Ever's TV talk show that does what else but help you keep your outlook fresh and informed. I'm Logan Crawford. Thanks for joining us.